GST reforms to add 2 lakh rupees crore to India's economy. Rate cuts to save citizens money. Raise taxpayer base to 15 million. US Treasury urges Europe to impose heavy tariffs on India-China. Trump says sanctions could end Russia-Ukraine war within 90 days. US extends TikTok ban deadline to December 16. Trump says deal with China could allow app to continue under US control. Namaskar, welcome to Hybiz. I'm Sashira. You are watching Business Talk. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said on Wednesday that the recent goods and services tax reforms will contribute at least 2 lakh rupees crore to India's economy and leave more money in people's hands. Speaking at an event on next-gen GST reforms in Visakhapatnam, she stated that reductions in GST rates will save Indian citizens around 2 lakh rupees crore, calling it a major step for the country's economy. According to Sitharaman, 99% of goods previously taxed at 12% have now moved into the 5% slab, while 90% of items earlier in the 28% bracket are now taxed at 18%. She said these changes will greatly benefit the middle class and help reduce poverty. She also claimed that the gains from GST reforms are 10 times higher than the incentive given to various industries. The minister noted that since GST was implemented, revenue has risen to 22.08 lakh rupees crore by 2025 and the number of GST taxpayers has grown from 6.5 million to 15.1 million, showing that GST has not only boosted revenue but also expanded the taxpayer base. Sitharaman announced that essential food items like milk, roti, paratha and chena will be GST free. Individual health and life insurance will also be exempt from tax. Additionally, 33 life-saving and rare disease medicines will be tax-free. Luxury items and tobacco products will now be taxed at 40% GST instead of 28%. Medium and large cars as well as motorcycles with engines above 350cc will fall into this higher slab. She said the new tax slabs will take effect on September 22nd, the first day of Navratri, although the 40% GST on tobacco products will not be implemented immediately. The changes aim to provide relief to ordinary citizens, support small businesses, and curb the use of harmful products such as tobacco by raising taxes on them, and curb the use of harmful products such as tobacco by raising taxes on them. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has urged European countries to impose tariffs ranging from 50% to 100% on India and China. He made this statement in an interview with Bloomberg on Monday. Bessent said that the US will not impose extra tariffs to curb Russian oil purchases unless European countries first impose heavy tariffs on China and India. He added that Europe must play a major role in supporting Russia's oil income and ending the war in Ukraine. This statement from Bessent comes after discussions with China regarding TikTok. He noted that China considers buying oil from Russia as its internal matter. The Trump administration believes that India and China are purchasing oil from Russia, which is helping Putin continue the war against Ukraine. By imposing heavy tariffs on India and China, their Russian purchases can be curtailed. Bessent said that the US is considering strict sanctions on Russian oil companies like Rosneft and Lukoil in coordination with European nations. He also mentioned that the $300 billion in Russian assets frozen after the 2022 attack on Ukraine could be used as loan guarantees for Ukraine. He added, I guarantee that if Europe imposes heavy tariffs on those buying Russian oil, the war will end within 60 to 90 days, as it will cut off Moscow's main source of revenue. 3 days ago, President Trump sent a letter to all NATO countries and the world stating that he was ready to impose strict sanctions on Russia. He emphasized that all NATO members must stop buying oil from Russia and agree with him to make these sanctions effective. Trump said some NATO countries are still buying oil from Russia, which is wrong and weakens negotiation leverage. He further added that NATO is ready, they just need to say so. He believes that if NATO imposes 50 to 100% tariff on China, it will help end the war. These tariffs would be removed entirely after the war. Trump stated that China controls Russia and these tariffs would break that control. He stressed that this is not his war, but the war of Biden and Zelensky. Trump said that if NATO follows his advice, the war will end quickly and thousands of lives could be saved. If not, they would just be wasting his and America's time. The US deadline to ban TikTok has now been extended to December 16. The original deadline was September 17. But US President Donald Trump announced a 3-month extension. This marks the 4th time Trump has postponed the ban. A day before Trump's announcement, the US and China reportedly reached an agreement in Madrid on a framework to resolve issues related to the app. This was confirmed by China's senior trade negotiator, Li Chenggang. On Monday, Trump posted on Truth Social that a deal determining whether the app will continue in the US is almost finalized. A few hours later, he told reporters that he would meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday, which would confirm whether Chinese ownership in the app would remain. In 2024, the US Congress passed a law requiring TikTok's Chinese owner, ByteDance, to sell its US business, or the app would be banned. This bill was signed by former President Joe Biden. The US cited national security concerns as the reason for the potential ban, fearing that the Chinese government could access user data. The US wants ownership of TikTok's operations in the country to be with American companies rather than Chinese firms. For TikTok to continue operating in its US operations must be sold to American companies. Potential buyers include Oracle, Silver Lake, and Andreessen Horowitz, while the app's algorithm and IP rights may remain with China. User data will be under American control. This deal is part of efforts to reduce trade tensions. In India, TikTok was banned in June 2020. The Indian government deemed Chinese apps a threat to the country's sovereignty and security, especially after military clashes along the India-China border. India banned 59 Chinese apps at that time, and over 500 Chinese apps have been restricted so far. TikTok faced accusations of promoting pornography and stealing Indian users' data. The Madras High Court initially imposed the ban, and ByteDance appealed to the Supreme Court but upheld the High Court's order. Due to the ban in India, ByteDance is reportedly losing around 3.5 crore rupees daily. Thanks for watching. Keep watching Hybiz. Namaskar.